morning, everybody. Hope your week's off to a great start. Thank you for joining me here this morning. If you want to follow along today, we will be in the book of Genesis, starting the 24th chapter as we start this week off. And I like it when it works out that way. I like to end the chapter on Saturday and start on Monday. Maybe that's a sign about whatever's going on in my noggin there. But appreciate you being here. I'm just going to paraphrase real quickly because it's kind of a long section here, 9 verses. As Abraham got older, he began to think about his son and this promise of descendants that he had. So he calls one of his servants in, and this is so serious that he makes the servant take a vow, and he says, I want you to go find my wife a son, but I want you to promise you won't find him a wife from the Canaanites. I want you to go back to my country. I want you to go back to where I am from and find his wife there. I want you to pick a wife from the land of my fathers, back to the descendants of Shem. And so he says, I want you to promise that. And the servant says, well, what if the woman I find won't come? And he says, well, if that happens, then don't worry about it. But I'm believing that God will provide and lead this woman to come with you. So let's talk about that for a moment. Several things we learned there. One of them is, again, the importance of marriage, of carefully choosing a mate. Abraham is very careful in this matter. I realize in our culture, maybe we don't do the parent picking the spouse thing, but again, I think it says to us as parents the importance of teaching our children, of warning them and leading them as they grow, not to be caught up in looks or money or some talent they may have, or any of those things. Again, what Abraham is looking for is keeping his family pure. He's looking at carrying out the promise, the commitment of God to be a great generation, to create a great nation from him. And I'm afraid, and I don't know, I hope I did. I hope my wife have done so, and that we have instilled in our children that if they happen to be nice looking and happen to have money and happen to have cars and houses and all those things, that's great. But if you have all that and they don't have a relationship with the Lord, you're going to have a miserable home. And so I heard somebody say one time, said I'd rather live under a bridge with a believer than live in a mansion with a lost man. And so Abraham is very concerned about that, but he also shows us his faith. He's trusting God to bring that right person there. One of the other areas that I'm pretty sure most of us as parents don't do a very good job of, and I've heard people make this statement, and I've tried. I'm certain I haven't done as well as I should have. I've heard people say, and I hope they're honest about it, they began praying the moment they found out they were pregnant. They began praying for the child, the mate that God had prepared for their child. One of my favorite phrases, and it's come up more, I've said it more lately than I have in my whole life, is closing the gate after the cow's out. A lot of people try to fix the marriage after the fact, whereas instead of praying and teaching our children and raising them to look for a godly spouse, to look for someone who loves the Lord. Don't look for somebody you hope will change. I heard somebody say one time, said, every man looks at their girlfriend and thinks she will never change, and every woman looks at her man and thinks I can change him, and they're both wrong. We need to teach our children. We need to model for our children, not just tell them to do it, but model a Christian home, a godly home, so that they know what it looks like. One of the things I think about all the time is a statement, and I won't get it exactly worded the way I heard it, but basically, young ladies in particular learn how to, what they should accept by what they see from their daddy with their mother. Young men learn from their daddy how to treat a woman. A lot of responsibility there when it comes to even our children, and some people, oh, I don't want to get involved, I got to make their own, blah blah blah. And we pick everything from them. We start from the time they're born, picking what they eat, picking what they wear, picking where they go to school, picking where they sleep, picking what time they go to sleep, all those things. Let's start early, raising them up, training them up. One of the most important decision they'll make, other than following Jesus Christ, is picking that person they'll live with for the rest of their life. Let's pray for them. Our grandchildren as well. Any children in our line, in our lineage, let's pray for them. Harder to be a kid today than it's ever been. Not exactly sure that's where Abraham was thinking and necessarily the main topic going on here, but that's what hit me, and I hope it helps you and causes you to think a little bit about your children and your grandchildren and maybe even your great-grandchildren. Have a great one. We'll see you here tomorrow morning.